everybody. Welcome to the Straight Out of BS podcast. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Please make sure you're just anything you do to interact with the video. I would greatly appreciate that. It would really help with the algorithm. Just any interaction, even if you don't like my work for whatever reason. I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't like my work, then you can hit the thumbs down so it pushes it out of your algorithm and into somebody new's algorithm. Not saying people should do that, but just follow your own true will. And I want to do, thank you to my Patreon supporters. Thank you to anybody that's joined the channel, anybody that's supporting me financially. That's totally not ever like expected. So it's always super, super appreciated. So thank you guys, everybody, every single last one of you. Thank anybody that's interacted with the video at all. Thank you for that. And I want to do a moment of silence for the person still struggling with intrusive thoughts or addiction or anything like that. So on the count of 3, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest for the day. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you went and what years.
My name is Brenda Mataconis. I went to Academyativyridge from August 16th, 2003 until January 21st, 2005. And then I was transferred to Spring Creek Lodge for the 18-year-old up program, Canyonviewpark, until October 31st, 2005.
Okay. And walk us through your childhood a little bit and what led up to you being sent away.
So in summary, my childhood was kind of chaotic. My parents, they separated when I was, I think, 7. My mother died May 12th, 1996. It was a party life and drugs and, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I guess you want to say. During the time of my parents being separated, my dad found God and was very extreme about it pretty much until about, I want to say about 13 years ago. I noticed it when I had my son. So I have a 13-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. So anyway, I was rebellious and I didn't really see it for what it was until maybe about 5 years ago. I struggled with a lot of mental health. I was parentified when I was 4 by my mother. I basically raised my brother, who's younger than me, and my sister, who is, my sister's 6 years younger than me. My brother's 2 years younger than me. And I didn't want to give that up. My dad didn't know how to handle the rebellious, I called it normal teenage girl stuff. I had really good grades in school. I maintained grades because that was my social life. That's how I got out of the house. My dad was very strict. He is an Air Force vet. And like I said, he was pretty, bless you. He was pretty radical with his Christianity because that's how he found, he found Christianity around the same time that he found the sober life. So he coordinated them hand in hand. And I rebelled a little bit. And like I said, my grades were good, but I smoked weed. I experimented with different types of lifestyles. Like I tried to figure out who I was, and it did not match up with what my dad wanted. So he pulled me out of public school, put me into a Christian school, which it wasn't a bad school. It was great.
Private school?
Yeah, I went to Calvary Christian Academy.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all girls, but it was very strict. And I got expelled right before Christmas of 2002. They found out that I had been promiscuous and I had signed a purity contract prior to going to school there. So my dad sent me back to public school. And I thought everything was cool until August 17th to 16th, 2003, when my dad told me that we were going to go see a college. And we went to upstate New York, and it said Mater D College on the outside. But wasn't a college. It was Academyativyridge. So, yeah. Which was weird because 2 weeks prior, I was raped, and I felt like I was being punished for not telling the truth to the cops. I had smoked weed, and I was afraid my dad was going to kill me if I did a rape kit and they found marijuana in my system. So, took a while to get over that, but he walked me in, and there was a guy. He had dropped something on the floor. Was a student, and he looked up and said, "Oh shit." And I heard a staff member say, "Are you going to staff that, or are you going to self-correct?" And it didn't hit me what was going on until a staff member, his name that we called him was Chef Dave, sat me in a room and said, "My name is Chef Dave." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And your dad has something to tell you. And my dad was crying. And he's like, "Remember how I told you, like, if you didn't act up, I was going to have to send you away." And I cursed my dad out, and I didn't give him a hug. I didn't see my dad for 8 months after that. So,
Okay.
I mean, I went through the whole Irish bullshit. Graduated high school from there.
Like your credits transferred?
So my credits from high school transferred. I have a diploma. It says Brenda Susan Mataconis. My middle name is Suzanne. It has the stamp seal that's raised. The transcripts have the same seal. Looks legit. My dad actually, so after the program was aired on Netflix, I believe it was Alexa, I reached out to one of them, and I got email transcript, like emails, correspondence. I have my package too. But my dad was asking, like, is my daughter gonna receive any repercussions for this? Because I'm hearing that you guys weren't accredited. And the staff member was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Everything's fine." They were giving me medication I was allergic to, even with my dad advocating from the outside. Like, I'm allergic to bacitracin. I'm not. I can't. I have irritable bowel syndrome, but like, how can you tell the staff there that like I can't eat that's going to make me sick, and then listen to you? Because they didn't. They refused. Like, I remember I I shit myself several times because you couldn't go to the bathroom for 45 minutes after eating, or you'd have to sit there with the door open and somebody's literally watching you go to the bathroom. And I'm still, to this day, I'm not comfortable with it unless I was drunk, because that, I think I've done that drunk before, but it's been a long time. So I finally rebelled. Note passing around Christmas of 2004. I was 18 years old. I signed a power of attorney over to my dad because he was one of the brainwashed ones. My exit plan was,
You were still in Ivy Ridge?
yeah, when I was at Ivy Ridge.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at Ivy Ridge, a staff member. Like, you could see that she was upset, and it's like she wanted to give me hope, but I feel like they were bound to something. I don't know. She was like, "Listen, here's your exit plan, $25 and a bus ticket to Willow Grove."
Yeah.
I'm from Abington, so Willow Grove is right there, in Pennsylvania. So $25 and a bus ticket, and I would no longer be able to have contact with my little brother or sister. I was not allowed home. Or I signed this power of attorney over to my dad, and I graduate the program, and then I can come home. And I knew that I wanted to be a part of my brother and sister's lives, and they're both under 18 still, so I really felt like I had no choice. I'd been away for over a year. I had no contact with anybody else on the outside. Any letter that I got was in an email form, which was really funny because my sister said she wrote me a handwritten letter after the program aired. I never got that. So I stayed, and then I rebelled because I note passed and I got caught. Whatever. And it's so stupid when I think about it, but I understand the protection part, but it wasn't even, if they read the letter, it wouldn't even be runaway plans. So I went to corrections, that's what it was called, and sat there for 5 minutes. And I pulled my hair out of my braid that we had to have, and I untucked my shirt from my skirt. And I said, I'm not doing this. And the staff member was Christy. I can't remember her last name. She's blonde. She's like, what are you doing? You don't want to do this. Like, you don't want to do this. And I was like, you know what? I don't fucking care. I'm 18. What are you going to do to me? And they put me in, sorry, it was worksheets, not corrections. They put me in isolation, where I sat until Amy Ritchie convinced my dad to allow me to go to the 18-year-old program and pay for it. And then I went. And Spring Creek was different. I think that if I had got sent to Spring Creek initially, that my time away would have been way less. We were allowed to go outside, obviously under supervision. The whole environment was way much different, but I think it might have been because I started out level 3 and 18.
Yeah.
So I had more privilege. I could shave my legs. I could wear my hair down. And my whole recovery, like, because I'm in recovery, long-term recovery, is like nature is a big part of my life. Like, if I can't go outside, I'm not a happy person. And Canyonviewpark, I learned how to do like crocheting. They tried to get me into a college, which it was a Mormon ran college, and I just couldn't commit to it. I learned a lot, and then I just conformed. I just did whatever I had to do to get home. I did the therapy, I did the groups, I did all of the seminars except for my dad stopped engaging in the seminars. Not EC2, and he did not do the parent-child seminar 3. So I didn't get to go to those, but I still graduated from the program. And I came home and my whole world was shocked. I lost all these people that I was friends with, family members, like people died. People were murdered, people, all the kids I went to high school with that were A friends or B friends were not living in the area anymore. So to have a social life, I hung out with the, as my dad called, undesirables. And within 5 months of being home from the program, I was kicked out of my dad's house and living with a new boyfriend. Like, I literally just started dating him 2 weeks prior. I was living in his basement, his parents' basement. So it's fun stuff. But yeah.
Okay. How long were you at Ivy Ridge for total? And then how long were you at Spring Creek for? And then like how long total?
So
If you had, like, it doesn't have to be exact, obviously, but
I was at Ivy Ridge for a year and 5 months. And then I was at Spring Creek. Remember, I was 18 when I entered. So I was there for a little over 9 months.
so like about 2 years.
2 years and, oh wait. Sorry, not 15 months. 17 months. 17 months at Ivy Ridge.
Okay. And then like, so you got like a good like 25 months or something like that. I was at Spring Creek 22 months, which is just short of 2 years. So
When were you at Spring Creek?
from January 23rd, 2007 until December something 2008.
I didn't even know they were open that long.
I was actually the last person to graduate from there before they shut down.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun stuff. Did they still do the Trail of Lights when you graduated?
Oh yeah, yeah. We got a fucking a different trail, like from what everybody else has told me about their trail of lights. Like ours was like they still had the blindfold and we had to like walk around. But my trail of lights was only with one other person, and they made us like read our obituaries and stuff like that
I
out
don't,
loud. Do you remember doing that?
not the obituary, no.
Yeah, they had like our parents write like a letter as if we had died, and we had to read it out loud in front of everybody, and then we had to like read like we had to like write our own obituary, like write our own death letter, and then it was like you were like symbolically like killed at that point. Like they were like it was really fucked up. I still remember that process, but the entire day, of course, we were blindfolded. They did that with you probably, right? And then you had to do like follow people's voice. Did they do that?
Yeah, and then they did a whole like body surfing.
Yeah, yeah, the fucking crowd surfing. Okay, so we did that too. That was actually the crowd surfing for me personally, just because you could pick your song and just by the time I had left the program, I was there. And something about I don't want to get too carried away with my story, but something about my program, I rebelled for the first 12 months and then I started working my program. So like I like was like made relationships with like all sorts of people. Plus I dropped into every single lower level family by the time I had fucking graduated. I dropped into every single lower level family. Like I started in honor and then I like worked my way up and then I dropped into Quest and then I worked my way up and I dropped into Respect and I worked my way up and dropped into Genesis and then I fucking worked my way up and then I finally got on the team when I started to work my program. So by the time I graduated, like I had just made a lot of relationships, even though you're not supposed to make relationships there or friendships. So like by the time it was really emotional for me, and it was just an accumulation of just like never thought like I was like the person that was on the radio every day for like getting removed and stuff. Like never thought that I was gonna be graduating from there. So it was crazy for me, but a lot of fucked up shit. But something else about graduating is that you get to see every single aspect of the program. So like most people just like don't end up graduating. So they either end up getting pulled or like they're just there a ridiculous amount of time to the point where they get pushed through the program. You know what I mean? So they might graduate. A lot of people still graduate, but there's just like not everybody experiences every single aspect of the program. So when I look at the program, my experience, like the majority of it was extremely bad, but there was like little bits in there that I do remember and little bits that I do cherish.
Mhm.
Like just little things, like just talking to my friends at night. Like we would like sneak off the bunks and like some of the night staff were like chiller than others and like some of them would let you like get off your bunk and go and like whisper to your friends and like talk about like your hopes and dreams for the future and just like stuff like that. So
I'm glad there was some bad staff there because Ivy Ridge, from what I'm hearing, it was just nothing but bad.
yeah, yeah. My experience was mostly like 98% bad. Like but there was like maybe 2% of it.
That's good.
Yeah, so enough about my story though. So you were at Ivy Ridge. What do you remember about the first day you got there? What do you remember about it? Did they buddy you up with somebody to show you the rules? Did they give you a physical rule manual? Did anybody go over the rules with you?
I did not get a manual. I did get paired up with a buddy. My dad only sent me with like wear bras and socks because he said that he was told that I would get a uniform, which took over 2 weeks. Now, um, Ivy Ridge is right along the St. Lawrence River. It is in upstate New York. It is fucking hot as balls outside, and there's no air conditioning except when they put the computer room in, which wasn't then. Um, I had gray sweatpants and a gray sweatshirt. That was all I had, besides my underwear and bras and socks. Like I didn't have any hygiene products, nothing. My Ivy Ridge Hope Buddy is what they called them, and that her name's Jess Bedford, which is like really cool because I found out that she went to high school with my cousins. So it was my cousin's birthday, same cousin from Quakertown. when I went in, and I get paired up with a girl from Quakertown, which was awesome because like I kind of felt like, okay, maybe she understands. But I never got a manual, and I think it was 2 weeks, maybe a week of like being instructed on how to do things, but never formally told. Except don't talk, don't look at the boys, follow line order. We had to do the heel toe talk, like walking, like military style. When the guys came down the hallway, when we were in their dormitory, which is where the cafeteria was, our heads went down into the wall. So like they would walk by and they could look at us, but we weren't allowed to look at them. We weren't even allowed to interact with them. If we did, it was like, I think a Cat 5. I'm not sure. So I remember the food sucked. I never really ate bananas in the program, but like you're forced to eat a fruit with every meal. And sometimes they only offered bananas. So I didn't want to get in trouble. I had to force myself to eat food. I feel like it was really rushed the whole like first 3 days.
Like
But
it went by fast, or they were doing things fast?
they were just doing things fast. Like there's a lot of information to take in. I would, to be honest with you, I was afraid that I was going to get killed. Like the way that they yelled at the girls and the way that things were ran, it was so strict and stern, and like you could see fear all over every single person's face. Like it was not a happy place. It was ran like a military school, and it worse, I would think. Like I would say like a concentration camp. That's how I could compare it to. Cause yeah. And there was, you had to do your schoolwork on your own, which we did it at Spring Creek too, right?
Yeah, you had to. You self-taught.
Yeah.
You had a book, and then you would like do like, at least when I was there, you had to like read a chapter, and then you do a test on the chapter. But a lot of the time, people would just write the answers. Like they would like push so hard with their pen, like not write it on, because like there was like these laminated sheets, and like they would like press down so it would be like indented into the laminate, so you could just like literally see the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like on it, on the shit. She's like, this is a joke, dude.
Yeah, we would have to retake everything in order to get an 80% or above.
Yep. 80% or higher. Yep.
And I did not know that it was ran by Mormons. I remember the first time I got my first chocolate bar, it was like heaven. I think that was Christmas. So it definitely was an eye opener. And of course, like you were told, you weren't told by the staff member that was doing your intake. You were told by your Hope buddy. You can't tell your parents what goes on here. They won't believe you. You won't have a chance to read anything or write anything to home without it being like they go over it, they review it. And when you do have a phone call with your parent, you're going to be watched. So, and it was actually on speakerphone every single time.
Yeah, same with
You couldn't tell, like I couldn't tell my dad what was going on because he sent me here. And then at the parent-child seminar, the first one that he came to, which was about 8 months after I was there, I didn't even want to talk to him about that. I was just so happy that I was able to see my dad and spend what little time we did have together. So he knew something was wrong after the first seminar, but he didn't know what to do because every person he reached out to told him just to continue to hold on and have hope and have faith. Nothing changes if you don't change. With change, everything, or without change, nothing is possible, or something like that. Program lingo bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How many people were, if you had to estimate, were there when you got to Ivy Ridge, and how many people were there when you left? If you had to make like a ballpark.
There was at least 5 families when I got there on the girl side. I don't know about the guy side.
Okay. Or just girls? Just girls for now.
Okay, so the girls, there was like 5 families, and each family, I would say there's 20 to 22.
Okay, so roughly about 100 or give or take.
Yep.
People.
And then when I left, they had made at least 2, and this is just lower levels. The lower level families, they made 2 more because Casa closed.
Okay.
And we got an influx of girls from Casa. Carolina Springs hadn't closed yet, that I know of at least. I was moved from my home family of faith to another family, and I don't remember what it was, but that was literally 4 days before I rebelled, I think.
Okay. And what about when you were at Canyon View Park? How many people were there when you got there, and how many people were there when you left?
Well, again, for the girls, I didn't really do lower levels, but I would say in each cabin there was, I think there was 20 to 24 girls in each cabin on like the bottom level, and then the upper level there were, so 48 in each cabin. At least 4 families in lower level, I think.
Yeah.
I was in upper levels for a while Canyon View Park was the facility was being brought up, and there was at least 50 upper levels. The Canyon View Park side, there was only maybe at most 14 of us. It was very small. Like, I don't know if, I think we got one new girl that came in like 20 years old, and she didn't last long. So, yeah.
Okay. How long after you got to Ivy Ridge did it take for everything to fully sink in and for you to be like, where the fuck am I?
Probably within the first 3 days that my dad wasn't coming back. When my dad says he's going to do something or not do something, there's no changing his mind. So it was pretty quick.
Okay. And how long after you got to Ivy Ridge did they put you through your first seminar? And what seminar was that? Was it orientation or discovery, or do you remember?
I think it was discovery. And so when I got there in August, I believe it was definitely before Christmas that I had discovery.
Okay. So like maybe like 2-3 months.
Yeah, within the first 3 months.
Okay. And how long after you got to Ivy Ridge did you get your first phone call, or did you get one?
I don't remember. I remember calling my dad, but it was probably after I got done discovery, because I'm pretty sure you had to go through a seminar to have contact with family.
Okay. And how many seminars did you make it through?
All of them?
Oh yeah, that's right. You graduated. Okay.
I didn't go to the seminar, the parent-child seminar 2 or 3. They had me doing something on campus.
How many keys did you have to do keys seminars? Like keys to success, keys to relationships, like they were like individual mini seminar things?
No.
Did you? Okay, that must have been a Spring Creek thing. Okay, so did you guys had discovery, focus, principles, and then what was after? Was principles the last one, and then PC1, PC2, PC3 for you guys? Okay, interesting. They tagged on like 3 or 4 extra seminars for the fucking Spring Creek when I was there. That's fucking insane to me. Okay. Well, I'm not surprised, but it's just it's insanity. It's like you just keep you here longer, you know. But what was your experience of the seminars?
Discovery, I was like, ooh, there's guys. I was excited to see other humans besides like girls with braids in their hair. Was it Discovery or Focus that you did the towel thing? Go away. Go away. Go away. Sorry, it's my daughter.
It's totally fine.
What's the seminar where we did the towels that were wrapped in?
That was both seminars. At least I remember it being both seminars.
I just remember doing it once, and I was like, "What in the devil is this shit?" Like, I heard it because our seminar room in Ivy Ridge was on top of where we did our school. So like you hear the pounding and you hear the screaming, and I thought kids were getting beat. But when I had my experience, I faked it. I completely faked it.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a staff member or like a upper level was right here in my ear screaming at me to like let it out, and whatever other coaching words she used. And I'm like, oh, this is what we're doing. Mhm. Well, pretend to drink the Kool-Aid, Brenda. And I just beat the hell out of the floor. Focus in the dancing thing. I was like, oh man, this is
The stretches.
fucking like I was Cindy Lauper. Girls just want to have fun. I'm like, come on, man. Like there are guys here. Like I can't dress up like this right now. God.
I was Ricky Martin, living La Vida Loca. And then fucking which is crazy as fuck to me, because literally after the program, I ended up doing hard drugs. It's like living.
Me too.
Yeah, it's just like, what the fuck, dude? Right. See, that
Girls
was like
fun. All right, so let me pop me an E real quick and let me go have some fun. I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to glorify.
Did they have the silent server or whatever it was called in yours? Or like they had to be completely silent, but they had to like give like feet rubs and stuff to the. Did they do that at yours?
No, my dad said that he had to do that at his parent.
Yeah, they did that at Spring Creek.
It was so weird. So, not to go off topic, but there was a guy there that I went to that went to Ivy Ridge same time I did, and I get out and I graduate, and I'm sitting at Olive Garden with my dad in Willow Grove by the Willow Grove Mall, and we're having dinner, and I look over and I see him. I'm like, oh my God, he lives around here. And my dad's like, what? And he looked over and he was like, oh, hey. And he said his mom's name. And I'm like, they went to seminars together. He rubbed her fucking feet at the seminar.
Oh my God, that's fucking insane.
They dated while we were away. I'm like, ew, gross, Dad. It's horrible.
Yeah, looking back on it, that was one of the most, like, I think, disturbing stretches they probably had. I can't remember all of them. There was a Woman in Red. There was Livin' La Vida Loca. There was Girls Just Want to Have Fun. There was the Silent Servers. And then I think there might have been like a mime or something like that where you had to be silent or something like that.
I have no idea.
It was crazy though. Do you remember the lifeboat process?
The lifeboat?
Yeah, where you had to like vote, live or die.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What was your experience of that?
I wanted everybody to live.
Did you get called out for it? Did they notice?
No, because I actually had to die a couple people to kind of feel like I had to, not get in trouble.
Okay, so you just threw in a couple dies just like to throw it out.
Random. Yep.
Okay. Let's see. What was the stupidest thing you ever got a consequence for at either of these places?
Farting.
What did you get? Self-inflict? Did they give you Cat 5?
Oh no, it was at Ivy Ridge because they wanted you to hold 3 fingers and step out of line, but you weren't allowed to step out of line or whatever. It was a Cat 1, 5 points.
Okay, well that's still stupid. That's still stupid.
Hi, no. Yeah, I'll just hold it in and cause more pain. That's self-inflict, right?
If you spit, you get a fucking Cat 1, I think, too. And then if you swear, like, out of sync, like, did you guys have gap checks where you had to go, like, gap check, and then you had to touch the person in front of you when you were in line? Did they do that?
Yeah, but not as much because it was pretty much, that only happened when we were outside, like walking in between dorms, which was kind of annoying because sometimes I'd get stuck behind one of the really fat girls and yeah. Or they'd be behind me and they're slow, like the slower ones or the more non-focused individuals, and then we all get in trouble for it. So not following directions, cat one, I think it was.
Okay. And let's see. Did you so you went on to upper levels, right?
I got vetoed into upper levels when I went between facilities. So yeah.
Do you have any like regrets like about like consequenting people or anything like that? Like, or have you like, is it just like I kind of just have to do this to get out of here? Or like, do you have like what's your
I did not like no one got consequenced by me.
okay. Okay. Did you ever get called out for that?
Nope.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it was because so you guys were under Chafin, right?
Yeah. Cameron
You
and
were
Chief.
under Cameron.
Yeah.
Only Cameron. We were like his babies. So I'm not trying to make anybody upset, but like we're kind of given special treatment as 18-year-olds.
It happens. No, I've heard about this happening and I know it happens. So yeah. They pick favorites. They pick
Okay.
favorites too.
Well,
Yeah.
so when I signed that power of attorney over to my dad when I was 17, turning 18, I did not know that he was emptying my bank account from the accidents from when I was younger. I had over $150,000 in there, and there was no money left come March of 2005.
Wow, he used it to pay for your treatment then. That's fucking
He
insane.
reimbursed himself.
Your treatment. Yeah.
Right. Well, it was my consequence for getting sent away.
Yeah.
So, when it came to a couple weeks before I would be out of money, my dad told me, and he's like, "You're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do because it's that or an exit plan." Again, still brainwashed. And I had a sit down conference with a lady, I think her name was Bonnie, who ran CVP, and Miss Lori, that was the staff member there, one of the staff members, and I sat down with Cameron. And Cameron actually gave me a job working at one of the motels doing like what was that, maid service? Like it was like a house cleaner.
House cleaner. So you clean fucking people's houses, right?
No, I
So
cleaned the motels.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like a really nice motel. I got a golf cart. I got to watch television.
Did you get paid anything for it?
The money all went for my school to be there.
Okay. Okay.
And I didn't think about asking for money because where am I
Yeah.
gonna spend it?
Yeah. No, I was just curious. Um, did you ever witness or hear about any grooming or sexual abuse, like staff to student or student on student when you were there? Hear about
That's
anything like that? Yeah.
not that I was aware of. Once the Canyonviewpark opened, we left the facility. We went to our own. So I don't know if anything happened. That would have been like April or May of '05.
Okay, and nothing at Ivy Ridge that you know about?
Ivy Ridge, there was some stuff that was going on. Um, we just chalked it up to people being like the favorites, like the inappropriate, like gestures and kindness and stuff like that. But my blinders were taken off when I got to Spring Creek and I saw the difference between the facilities, and I was like, oh shit. Um, Amy Ritchie did not do anything to me that I remember, but she did play favoritism with me because that's how she got me to agree to Ivy Ridge transfer to Spring Creek.
Okay.
There was a delay between going from one to the other because of a snowstorm. I remember calling my dad and telling him my flight was canceled because of the snow. You need to figure out what to do here because if you send me back to Ivy Ridge, I'm going to kill myself. So my dad put me in a hotel for, I think it was 2 nights. I think that's when he realized that that was not a good facility, and the emails actually started to increase more from what I was able to see when I got my stuff from Ivy Ridge.
Okay. And what was the hardest part about you being in these places, and how did you deal with it when you were there?
Oh, picking one of the hardest things, I would say missing my family and missing out on everything that was going on out here. My best friend died from a vehicle accident, and I didn't find out about that until my home pass in July of 2005. So, dealing with the things that I didn't know, and like just not being home with my little sister, like I missed out on like all of the important like 9 through 13, 14-year-old stuff. And I journaled a lot, like a lot, too much, because it actually got me in trouble because they checked my journal. And I daydreamed. And when I couldn't daydream or journal, I just applied all of my frustrations to my schoolwork. Go away. Go away.
What is this?
It's a fucking wax. Go away. Okay, I'll ship them over to California.
Okay. What happened? Like, did you get a life contract before you were sent home? Did they set you up?
Yeah, I would help build that one.
Okay. How long did that last?
Was the end date on the life contract? I don't know if there was an end date, but I got kicked out. I came home October 31st, 2005, and I was kicked out of my dad's house by the first week of April 2006.
Okay. And when did you get into hard drugs? When did that happen?
So depending on your definition of hard drug, I only smoked marijuana and drank alcohol
Okay.
until 2009, when I started to experiment with like Xanax and Percocet and like the pills.
Okay.
And I mean, I did ecstasy too, but I actually dove headfirst into methamphetamines and dabbled with heroin for a little bit. I only did heroin 3 times, but dove headfirst into methamphetamines in March of 2019.
And that was how long after you got back?
Oh God, it was 14 years, not even 13 and a half years.
Okay. Okay. And did you stop doing that? I did meth and heroin for fucking over a decade, and I have like, I statistically I shouldn't be here. Like literally, I'm literally an anomaly. Like there's no fucking, like, if you were like trying to quantify like the chances of me being alive with like the amount of drugs I was doing, and just like just how self-destructive I was back when I was like really in my drug use, like I shouldn't be here. So like that's one of the reasons I want to give back, and just like it's one of the reasons I do this podcast, is because I shouldn't really be here.
Make me cry, because March 1st I'll have 5 continuous years.
Congratulations. Yeah, I have a little over 3.5 years. I'm on methadone, but I'm working on tapering off that. But I also smoke weed, and it's just like that's my harm reduction. And I don't let other people dictate what they consider harm reduction, because it
Right.
doesn't matter what they think. This is me. This is my body. Like I know me like better than anybody. But yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. And just it's so hard, like, because most people, they're just like, oh, just lock them up, just throw them in rehab, and it's like that's never gonna fucking stop somebody from using. Like if they want to use, they're gonna use regardless of what the fuck you do to them.
So
And they might even want to use more since you sent them there.
exactly. So I I got my associate's degree when this whole shit with Ivy Ridge came out. Like I was already 2 years into my degree, and my dean, I went to my dean. I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, we're just gonna ignore that because you're already in college. What are we gonna do? Send you back for your GED? Like, fuck it, right? And now, like, I would have graduated high school. I graduated in 2004, so like, it's been 20 years since I graduated high school. I went and got my bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in addiction. I wanted to be a probation officer because I wanted to be that change, but then I got put on probation for fighting. So that went out the window. And I got my degree, I got my bachelor's degree in 2018. So I became a hardcore drug addict in March of 19, not on purpose, I promise. But now I am what the insurance companies have actually identified as aftercare / follow through treatment. I work for a rehab, and it sounds so stupid because people are like, oh, well, how would you compare yourself? I'm like an overpaid sponsor / case manager. Like all I do is I meet them. So I don't believe in the meet the people where they are.
Yeah.
Even meeting them where they dream.
Yeah.
So tell me what works for you. If marijuana works for you, all right, let's work on getting you a medical marijuana card because Pennsylvania, it's not legal for recreational.
Yeah.
And that way we can tell these people to go, right? If you have ADHD and you're telling me that the meth is working for you, let's get you off the meth and let's get you a psych evaluation so you get put on the medication that'll work. Or you want to go take I have a client that every Friday we go on a 3-hour hike. It helps me more than I think it helps her.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I do Monday through Friday. And I love it. Now I haven't had anybody like succumb to anything, but I've had people that just don't they're not there. And I'm just like, like I don't want to put you I work alongside, I guess you want to call it, probation officers, parole officers, children and youth workers. Like these people, I don't know how it is there, but they don't want people to lose their kids or go to jail. Like they do everything humanly possible to offer them resources and support. And I see that now. It's not how it was 10 years ago. I've had more contact with this one probation officer than I have with my client. And really 4 months of not seeing him. And I'm like, my boss is telling me I can't work with him anymore because he's not, and she's like, you did everything you could. And I literally was on the phone with her crying today for 20 minutes because it's like, I want everybody to have what we have, whether it's MAT or not, or you're in mental health or something just to get away from, because I had this conversation with my dad the other day. He's like, aren't you sick and tired of drug addicts? Like you deal with drug addicts and your fiance is in recovery, you're in recovery. Like, aren't you just done? And I'm like, well, show me one person who hasn't had trauma, because addiction is not just something we just choose to do one day. It's not like, boom, like, oh, I'm going to go be a heroin addict. Well, now it's fentanyl or whatever the hell it is. And he's like, what are you talking about? So I broke it down for his boomer mind to understand. Whether it's physical trauma, mental trauma, emotional trauma, whatever it is some kind of form of trauma that is undealt with. And he's just like, fuck, damn. So yeah. And mine started before Ivy Ridge. And you tried to put a Band-Aid on an open wound that needed stitched up and healed properly and nurtured and bandaged and cleaned. And here we are. I'm 38 years old. And my dad just had his aha moment. So it's like I'm 12th stepping for the rest of my life at this place. And I love it. And I get paid for it.
That's awesome.
And I get to tell probation officers to fuck off. Oh, I do it in a professional manner. Like, no, stop. Because if we put them in jail, they come out way worse. My ex-husband, is a prime example. Juvenile placement and institutions, and I think he knows how to steal your identity just by
Yeah.
so.
That's awesome that you got your degree. But yeah, it's just you need to your best bet with somebody to get them sober is to show them that there's another way and give them hope for the future. Like you need to if you can't do that, that's literally all you can do. You can't force them. You can think that you're forcing them. You could have them in jail for 15 years, okay? They're not using for 15 years. If they're really not using, because if they're in prison, I'm certain that they can get drugs if they want them still. That's a prevalent thing in itself. So it's just to think that just throwing somebody in jail or prison is a fix. It's no, they can get drugs in there if they want, dude. You think that that's immune? It's actually a fucking economy inside the jail.
They're off the commissary here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey state prisons. They can't get sugar. And I asked my friend, I said, what the hell is that about? He goes, because you need sugar to make hooch. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. They're some of the most ingenious, well, not ingenious, but just inventive. They invent so much shit in prison, just how to make certain shit. Just it's crazy.
Well, my dad, I said, you sent me to Ivy Ridge because I was boy crazy and rebellious.
Yeah.
I came out way worse. Way worse. I was so fucked in the head. It's being put into when my fiance Matt, now he's been to state prisons and federal prisons and stuff, and I had him sit down and watch the Ivy Ridge thing with me. And for over a week, he was cursing my dad, but at the same time going and telling everybody else that he knows that's ever been to jail, that place made jail look like a goddamn retreat.
Yeah, you actually, jail would be the better, if you got offered in court, for the people that took jail over these places, good on you. You probably came out better that way. If I had to I'm not a betting man, but if I had to bet that who would turn out, potentially better, probably jail, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. I mean, you're being indoctrinated, but you're not your mind isn't literally being controlled, and you're not literally being brainwashed. You're being indoctrinated just because of the environment you're in, but you're not being indoctrinated by other people. You know what I mean?
Well, they could make phone calls home. They could have visits. They could have fucking coffee. We could have coffee.
Yeah.
Shave. And he's just like, holy shit. I'm like, no, that's the God honest truth. It could have gone more in depth, but yeah. And now I deal with some of the clients that we get with our company are juveniles, and they're all weed smokers. I have not come across a hardcore user yet. And I had this conversation. It wasn't the mom trying to send the kid away to one of the, wilderness programs, they call it. It was one of the other workers that was trying to help the kid. She's like, oh, it worked for mine. And I looked at her and I'm like, you do know, because I can't disclose a lot to her. I don't know who the hell this lady is. I'm like, you do know, they're not all thoroughly investigated and proper, right? Are you living underneath oh, you're one of those parents. Got it. So we just amped up the love and more nature walks with the kid, and he's doing just great.
Yeah. No, that's your best bet. You have to be able to connect with them, and if you can't get a connection going between somebody, you don't really have a chance of fucking convincing them otherwise, because they're in a cycle. Literally, addiction is a fucking constant cycle. You're literally in that cycle until you break that cycle.
Yeah.
Single day. It doesn't matter what you have to do to get money, you're gonna get money, and then you're gonna get drugs, and then you're gonna get high, and then you're gonna go get food, and then you're gonna eat, and then you're gonna go get more money, and then get more drugs, and it's just a vicious cycle over and over again. But you can't just interrupt them by throwing them in jail. And for the people that get locked up, you end up getting locked up and end up getting clean. Good for you. Good for you. I hope you can stay sober. I really do. But most people, it doesn't work like that.
Nope.
Yeah. But yeah, got a little sidetracked there. My bad.
Sorry. We're back.
No, it's okay. That was my bad. I started talking about that. But if you could go back in time and not go through these places, knowing what you know now, would you do it and why?
If I could go back in time and tell myself to shut the fuck up and just...
No, like if you could completely not go through them at all.
So I would say 95% yes. But at the same time, no, because it's made me who I am and it makes me able to relate more and help others and not send my 8-year-old daughter away, because sometimes I feel like that's what I want to do. And then I realize there's nowhere else I would want her to be but with me, because I don't want her to go through what I did.
Yeah.
I think it's made me into a better individual, and essentially caused me to not be a younger mom. I was 25 when I had my first kid, but at the same time, like, it destroyed my ability to have healthy relationships until the one that I'm in right now, which he's not the father of either one of my kids. So it's kind of like not my ideal thing, you know?
Yeah. No, that's understandable. And what do you think you needed instead of being sent away? What do you think would have helped you?
My dad to listen and to not have such old-fashioned belief systems. Like, my dad was the give her a pill to shut her fuck up fixer for the pill. And he only addressed the the bipolar diagnosis that I had because my mom was bipolar and we need to fix her so she doesn't become her biological mom. So
Okay. And were you there during the riot at Ivy Ridge?
no, that happened when I went to Spring Creek.
Okay.
My cousin was there though.
Who was there?
My cousin, she got sent to Ivy Ridge after I left.
That's insane. What the fuck is she? When did she get out? Do you know when she got out?
Not really. I know that she graduated too.
Oh God. Okay. That's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that.
I apologized over and over and over. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, it's so crazy because usually graduation is a good thing that you're proud of, and well, not that I wasn't proud to get the fuck out of there, but at the same time, it's just like it's usually like a good thing, and it's like, but when you graduate these places, it's just like, oh God, I feel for you, you know what I mean? That was
It's
so
like, you must have been really brainwashed. And I just faked it till I made it.
yeah,
I just, you know, like a good, dutiful wife, I did what I was told to do.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's definitely what I did too. Okay. Well, is there anything else you want people to know about your experience, or anything that you might tell a parent thinking about sending their kid to a place like this?
Well, I would tell a parent that was going to try to send their child away that, like, there are resources out there and there is plenty of help. You just have to know where to ask and how to ask. Your child is going through a really difficult time. The world sucks and there's too many influences. It's not necessarily a reflection on you, or it could be. So don't send your kids away because they're going to come back way more fucked up than they were before they got sent away. And attend to your army because, if the kingdom's not okay, then the army's not going to be okay. That's what I would tell the parents. But in regards to my experience, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger kind of thing, we can and we will always get better. Those of us who haven't made it out of our darkness, I'm sorry, and continue to just keep on fighting as long as you can, and reach out if you need help.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for coming on the show. If things come up after this show, then just take some notes and we can do a part 2. Even if you just want to do a follow-up, we can totally do that too. So just let me know. And if you've watched so far in the video, please make sure you give the video a thumbs up, a like, comment. I would love to see who you are, just say hi down below. I'd love to meet you and possibly get you on for an interview if you're interested. And in the meantime, we will see you on the next one. Bye.